Everything and everyone ignores you. Have you ever felt invisible? As if no one cared about you anymore. As if the world had forgotten you exist? If so, then this message is for you. This is the story of a dog. Yes, a simple, abandoned animal who lived by the roadside. Dirty, thin, wounded, forgotten. People passed by him as if he were part of the scenery. An invisible being. A piece of pain no one wants to look at. But this dog heard a voice. A gentle, soft voice that came when everything seemed lost. And this voice said, "I am still with you." Sounds crazy, maybe, but the truth is that God has spoken through donkeys, stones, and even silence. He speaks as he wills, to whomever he chooses, even to those the world has decided to abandon. And today, if you're watching this video, if you clicked on it without even knowing why, it's because God still sees you. He wants to talk to you. This story is about more than a dog. It's about you, about me, about all of us who at some point have felt abandoned, hurt, invisible, and about a God who never stops searching for us. But before we continue, like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who also needs to know that God still sees. Because if you're hearing this, it's because he's still speaking to you. Chapter 1. The loneliness of the forgotten. It was a cold morning when he appeared. No one knew where he came from. He was dirty with matted fur, full of open wounds. He walked slowly, afraid of steps, like someone who has been beaten too much for trying to trust. He was just a dog, but he carried in his eyes a pain that many humans know well, the pain of being left behind. He dragged himself to the corner of an old abandoned shed. He lay there in the mud, trembling. People passed nearby, some even saw him, but no one stopped. A lady even said, "Don't get close, he's too ugly." A young man threw a stone to drive him away, and he just wanted to exist, to be noticed. This is the loneliness of the forgotten. It's not just being alone. It's being treated as nothing. It's living without anyone asking if you're okay. It's getting sick and no one noticing. It's crying and having no ears to hear. How many times have you felt like this? The story of this dog resembles the story of many souls out there. People who were once loved, but life slowly crushed them. People who got used to smiling on the outside and screaming on the inside. People who were abandoned by those who promised to stay. And the worst part of loneliness isn't the silence. It's the emptiness. It's looking around and seeing no one. It's feeling that you could disappear today, and maybe no one would notice. This dog, he had no name, no owner, no hope. But even in that state, there was something still pulsing in him, a will to continue, even without understanding why. You might be feeling like this today. Tired, without strength, wounded. You might be in your emotional shed, just trying to get through another day. But God brought me here to remind you, He sees you. The Bible says, "Can a mother forget the baby at her breast, and have no compassion on the child she has borne? Though she may forget, I will not forget you." Isaiah 49:15. Even when the world ignores you, God still watches you with love. That was the beginning of that dog's journey, and it can be the restart of yours too. Chapter 2. The voice in the silence. That first night the dog didn't sleep. The cold was intense, his bones ached, and hunger gnawed like a silent fire inside. But what hurt the most was the absence of meaning. Then something unexpected happened. In the middle of the night, while the world slept and the shed remained engulfed in darkness, he heard a voice. It wasn't a human voice. It didn't come from outside. It came from within. It was gentle, soft, like the wind that passes without making a fuss. And it said, "You are still alive. I'm still here." The dog lifted his head, looked around. No one, not a soul. But there was something there, something he didn't understand, but that made his heart race. He felt warmth. He felt peace. He felt he wasn't completely alone. This is the voice that comes when everything is silent. This is how God speaks when no one else talks to you. He speaks in the emptiness of the room, in the muffled cry, in the parked car when you don't have the strength to leave. He speaks when the phone doesn't ring, when friends drift away, when even you start to give up on yourself. God speaks in the silence, because the noise of the world often distracts us from Him. In the Bible, Elijah expected to find God in the strong wind, the earthquake, the fire. But God came in a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19:12. It was in the silence that Elijah heard the presence. It was in the silence that the dog felt the voice. And it's in your silence that you can hear too. That dog, even wounded, closed his eyes. For the first time in days, he slept. Because he understood, even without words, that someone was still there with him. How many times have you ignored this voice? How many times has it tried to reach you, but you were too busy feeling alone? Today, God is saying, I am still here, even when you think there's no one else. The voice in the silence isn't madness, it's care. It's the divine presence trying to reach what the world rejected. Chapter 3. The Struggle for Survival. The following days weren't easy. The dog woke up hungry, cold, and in pain. Each step was an effort. The wounds became infected. His hind leg was injured. Sometimes he went out in search of food scraps and was chased away with brooms, shouts, and stones. No one wanted to see. No one wanted to help. But he didn't give up. Even with everything against him, something inside that animal insisted on living. And that strength didn't come from him. It was as if every morning the same silent voice said, "Go one more day. I am with you." This is survival. And I'm not just talking about animals. I'm talking about you. How many times have you lived a day without knowing how? Smiled on the outside while inside you wanted to disappear? Got out of bed without understanding why you still try? The struggle for the soul's survival is one of the hardest battles of existence. It's not the body that's sick. It's the spirit. It's the shattered heart trying to keep beating. That dog didn't know he was being watched. God saw him. And in the same way, God sees you. In your hardest days, in your worst moments, when you think no one cares. Heaven is silent but alert. You've survived things that would destroy others. You've gone through dark nights the world can't even imagine. And you're still here, wounded perhaps, but standing. That's not weakness. It's faith, maybe unconscious faith. But it's proof that God is still breathing life into you. The Bible says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Isaiah 41:10. That dog's survival wasn't by chance, and neither is yours. You're still here, because God still has plans. Chapter 4. The Presence That Never Left. There were moments when the dog thought he couldn't take it anymore. The pain in his legs, the throbbing hunger, the cold of the night. Everything seemed to urge him to give up. But always, before surrendering, that presence returned. It wasn't something seen. It was something felt. It was like a gentle warmth around his body, as if invisible arms embraced him. A whisper in his heart said, "You are not alone." And he wasn't. God's presence doesn't depend on where you are. It doesn't need temples, spotlights, loud praises. It goes where no one else goes. To the bottom of the pit. To the forgotten shed. To the alley where your soul drags itself. That dog was far from everything and everyone, but God was with him. Because God never abandons those the world despises. Mary Magdalene, rejected, was the first to see the risen Jesus. The thief on the cross, whom no one thought was worth anything, was the first to enter paradise. Because God doesn't measure value with human eyes. He sees the broken heart and draws near. The dog didn't know, but each night he resisted, a plan was being drawn. Someone would be touched. Someone would see him. Someone would finally hear the voice he already heard in his spirit. And maybe you're in that moment. Now, waiting, agonizing, thinking, will it change? It will. The presence that sustains you on the days you think of giving up is the same. That will lift you when the right time comes. God never left. It was you who at times stopped feeling, but He remains there, in the corner of your room, in the silence of your mind, in the emptiness of your chest, whispering, I never left you, and I won't leave you now. Chapter 5, when someone finally sees. It was on a cloudy afternoon, ordinary like any other, that everything changed. The dog was lying in the same corner, weak, eyes half open as if silently saying goodbye. But then footsteps approached. This time they weren't hurried or indifferent steps. They were slow, careful, and for the first time in many days, he heard a human voice that sounded similar to the other voice he already knew in his heart. Hey, little buddy, you're here alone, huh? It was a young woman with teary eyes and a gaze that didn't look away. She wasn't disgusted. She wasn't afraid. She knelt down even in front of the dirt, the wounds, the weakness, and extended her hand. The dog, too tired to move, just watched. You remind me of myself when I thought no one saw me anymore, she whispered. She saw more than an abandoned animal. She saw a soul that needed to be touched. God never stopped seeing you. That dog's story is not just about abandonment. It's about redemption, about someone who was forgotten by everyone, but never by God, even on the darkest days, even on cold nights, even when the pain was greater than the strength. God was there. You may have been rejected by people, ignored by those who said they loved you, mistreated by life. It can be injured inside, exhausted outside, with no apparent hopes. But today, this message came to remind you God never stopped seeing you. He was with you in the days when you cried hidden. He was in the silence of the dawn, in the wet pillow, in prayer without words. He heard their silent screams and kept every sigh like someone who keeps a rare pearl. And now He's calling you back. It doesn't matter how far away you got, no matter how dirty, weak, unworthy you feel. He sees your value, and He's extending His hand like that girl did with the dog. He calls you by name. He calls you back to life. You are not spiritual garbage. It is not emotional rest. You are the beloved creation of the Most High, and if you're listening to this now, it's because there's still a plan for you. Like that dog, you'll get up. It will heal. You're going to live again. It will be a living testimony of the God who restores what was thrown away. Don't wait any longer. Don't hide anymore. Tell God now with a sincere heart, Lord, I'm still here. And I know that the Lord is too. If this message touched your heart, like this video, comment, God still sees me. Share it with someone who is feeling invisible, and subscribe to the channel to receive more words that heal. Restore and renew faith, because even when the world turns your face, the sky still looks out for you, and God never failed to see.